Well, if you're going to buy a Winchester Model 94, should you consider one that's pre-64? Hi, George here, and welcome to Tales from Target Suite, where I'll share my perspective on guns and shooting, and we'll spend some time at the range. And every now and then we'll reconvene out back in my shop here in Houston or at the farm in Louisiana, where I'll build some fun projects. And we'll share an adventure or two that'll make even a grown man smile. And yes, I do have two Winchester Model 94s here. And one of them is a pre-64 Winchester. And if you're not familiar with what pre-64 means when it comes to Winchester, it was in 1964 that Winchester changed their manufacturing standards, I will say. And a lot of people believe that from 1964 moving forward to present time, Winchesters just haven't been up to the same quality as those that were made pre-64. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at two Winchester Model 94s. One of them is indeed pre-64, and one of them is indeed post-1964. And let me give you a flyover here of the two guns that we're talking about, and see as we fly over, see if you can get any hint as to which one might be made before 1964 and which one might be made after. Now, one of these Model 94s you've seen before, and it was in the first cast bullet test I did with the Marlin 336 microgroove rifling, and I posted that video right at the Ides of March 2021, and I posted the question to you viewers that Family History said this gun may be from 1963 or 1964. But the serial numbers indicated to me it was from 1971. And y'all jumped in, quite a few of you jumped in the comments and pointed out a singular characteristic of the pre-64 Model 94 that really stands out. And you can see it now as we zoom in close here. And by the way, you can tell in this close-up how similar the pre-64 from 1955 and the post-64 from 1971, you can see how similar they are. But there is one feature that the post-64 does not have, and that is a set screw right here. And you can see it's missing in that video segment. And so here is this is the gun you guys have seen before. It has since been really cleaned up because it was rusty beyond, it was in bad shape, I'll put it that way. It had been stored in an unair-conditioned, kind of an unair-conditioned outbuilding, and was just to the point of no return when it came to rust and everything. But we got it cleaned up, and believe it or not, it still functions pretty good. It's not too bad on the inside. It had so much dried grease and oil inside that it kind of preserved it. The bore is reasonable. And so this is my cousin's post-64 1971 Winchester Model 94 in 3030. And the other one that we're talking about today is this guy right here from 1955. And you've gotten much better flyovers than I can show you right here. But this one has a little bit bigger hole in the end. It's because this one is in 32 Winchester Special. And it does have, as you saw in that flyover, it does have the set screw right here indicating that it is a pre-64 Winchester, and this one by serial number is from 1955. And it's in pretty darn good shape. So what I'm going to do here now is take these guys apart, and for you YouTube folks, we're not going to make any modifications or anything. I want to just show the changes that were made internally between the pre-64 and this 71 vintage post-64 Winchester Model 94, and show the differences, because they aren't stark, and that begs the question, does it really matter? And we'll get to that at the end of the video. Okay, again, we're just going over some historic differences between the 1971 Winchester Model 94 and the 1955 Winchester Model 94. We're not making any changes or recommending any changes. This is just about showing the historic difference between two generations of this rifle. And the first thing we can look at is the breech bolt. Very similar. I don't see, there's nothing that we can really see here that's dramatic, other than the fact that they use roll pins instead of solid pins, and the firing pin is not contained in the breech bolt other than with the pin that connects the finger lever to the breech bolt, and that is what contains the firing pin in the 1971 version. In the 1955 version, it's actually contained by this pin right here, and so the firing pin is captured. But other than that, there's not much difference in look or feel. Now, there may be some tolerance issues that are different between the later model and the newer model, but that's beyond the scope of this video. The hammer of the let's do it this way. The hammer of the 1955 version has this link right here that grabs the mainspring here, and so there's a nice frictionless rotating connection between the mainspring here and the hammer there. Whereas that's on the 1955 version. On the 1971 version, it's just a friction surface right there. The locking lug is a little bit different, but not much. They're about the same. No big differences there. Same thing with the carrier. Not a big difference in the carrier between the 1971 version and the 1955 version. However, the 1971 version has a through screw that goes all the way through, that goes in from this side and attaches attaches the carrier, whereas the 1955 version has stubby screws that come in from each side. And so it leaves a clear slot in the middle, and I'm not sure functionally how that differs between this guy 1971 and this guy 1955. But that clearance, they definitely left that slot open for a reason in the older model. That gets us down to this one. This is the obvious difference between the two models, the external difference, and that is that the 1955 version uses a loose pin, and this loose pin is captured by that set screw. And so this is what everyone pointed out in the comments in that video from March, that if you have one that has this set screw, then you probably have a pre-64. However, in the video that I did on my friend Micah's Model 94 357 from 2002, it actually had this set screw. And so that's not a definitive answer. The other thing, and this is what a lot of people complained about when I was reading up on the differences, the 1955 version, the pre-64 version, has a stamped and machined loading gate spring. One solid piece. You can even see some marks here where it's been machined. I suspect it was machined, formed in the soft, and then heat treated to spring steel. Whereas the 1971 version has a sheet metal folded and formed loading gate spring. So there are the dramatic differences. And internally, from a look and feel on the inside of the receiver, there's really not much that I can see. So there you have it. Well, does pre-64 matter? And the answer is, it depends. And if you're a Winchester collector or concerned about long-term value, I would say it absolutely matters, because the quality overall of Winchester firearms changed dramatically, and everyone's aware of that. Changed in 1964, and it didn't change for the good. But for if I was looking for a quality shooter, lever gun, Winchester, I would be very happy with that 1971 version. If it was in better shape and also came deeply discounted over a pre-64 version. So my own pre-64, I'm really happy to have this one, but it came at a deeply discounted price because, I'm assuming, because it is in .32 Winchester Special. And it just appears like that there is not that much interest in that cartridge. And while we were filming an earlier segment, the UPS girl dropped some of these off. Buffalo bore, 200 grain hard cast bullets. And so I've got ammo to shoot, I've got loose bullets that have come, I've got Starline brass, and some other cast bullets. So I can't wait to get to the farm and put some rounds down range with the 1955 pre-64. It's redundant, isn't it? But the 1955 Winchester Model 94. It's going to be a blast. And I hope to see you in the next video.